It's Scott Jennings on the Salem Radio Network. I am joined on the line by Harmeet Dhillon, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the United States Department of Justice, appointed by President Donald J. Trump. Harmeet, welcome to the Scott Jennings Show.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
It's a great honor for us to have you on the show today. I want to talk about your efforts to clean up voter rolls around the country in just a moment. But first, there is a little breaking news. I'm sure you've heard the news that a federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to release illegal alien Kilmer Abrego Garcia from custody. We've heard Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt say there will be an appeal on this. I'm interested in your immediate reaction to yet another federal judge taking the side of illegal aliens over U.S. law.
Well, look, I think it's a shocking decision. It is an irresponsible decision, and it has become all too common for us to see this type of ultra-virus, really lawlessness coming from some of these federal judges who seem to have no concern whatsoever either for the prerogatives of the executive branch, much less public safety. And we're not talking about misunderstood choir boys here. We're talking about repeat offenders, violent thugs, people who repeatedly ignored our laws, and people who are removable from the country. And these judges who are reversed by the courts of appeals are just basically giving the middle finger to public safety, to the president, and to all of us, really, and making us all less safe. And so hopefully this will be rapidly reversed on appeal, as many of these types of decisions have been.
I want to move on to the topic of election security. You have been moving aggressively to sound the alarm about the voter rolls in states containing thousands upon thousands of people who shouldn't be on there, dead people, duplicates, illegal aliens, and whatnot. You have actually sued several states who are refusing to take action on this. Can you tell us here, what is the story with the voter rolls? What have we accomplished so far? And what are the states that are refusing to participate?
This is really exciting. I'm going to break a little news for you here today. We sued 4 more states today for this very issue. That brings it to 18 states that are being sued, 1 that we settled with, which is North Carolina, a dozen that I'm negotiating with, actually 11, because Texas actually did sign a memorandum of understanding with us and is handing over their data. Some of the states, so that's more than half the states. Some of the states that have said no include Maine, and just this week, Georgia, the Secretary of State, Raffensperger, has told me to go play in the traffic effectively. So we are going to be suing Georgia. We're drafting that lawsuit. Eventually, we expect to either get cooperation from every state or sue them because this is such an important project, and we really need to be able to compare the voter rolls. We need to be able to help these states. And fact of life is that these secretaries of state are supposed to be doing this work themselves. Now, federal government has some resources they don't have, but in the past, the feds have either just not been interested in fairly high fees to states to run their data through the database. The president lifted that requirement, and so it's free for states to check their voter rolls for dead people, for non-citizens. And they have a duty to do that, and they're just not doing it. So we're helping them out. We're helping them. We're comparing between states. We're getting rid of duplicates, and we are actually, where people have voted and they're not citizens or have otherwise committed fraud, we're beginning criminal prosecution. So, but the main goal here is not, criminal prosecution so much as cleaning up the voter rolls, making sure all the citizens feel comfortable that our next election that they vote in is safe and secure, and only American citizens are voting in that federal election.
What in the world could they possibly resist this effort for, Harmeet? Because having free and fair elections means having voter rolls that contain only legally registered voters. But you're telling me you have several states and you're having to sue them where they are resisting removing ineligible voters from the rolls. Why, oh, why could they possibly want their voter rolls laden with ineligible voters?
Crazy. Yeah, that begs a question. I think you're being a little bit tongue-in-cheek there, because certainly some of these states have no interest in clean voter rolls. I think that's having dirty voter rolls is a feature and not a bug. And so that's a problem. But then you have other states. I have a delegation of red state secretaries of state coming to meet me on Monday. And, they sent me in the lengthy letter. I'm not going to call them out because I'm still hoping to reason with them on Monday. But, they're like, oh, these are the reasons we can't give it to you. We're worried about blah. We're worried about the future and what's going to happen to this and what's going to, and is the data secure? People, I'm asking for the last four of People's Social, which, by the way, the federal government issued that number. So we kind of, have it. It's like the cat is out of the bag on their Social Security number. It's not secret from the federal government, people. So, it's just dumb. I think, frankly, for those who aren't looking for dirty voter rolls, I think they may just be embarrassed how dirty their voter rolls are, and they didn't do anything about it until the United States stepped up. And this has never been done before. When I came into office, I said, let's find the last lawsuit we filed like this under the Help America Vote Act, and let's just copy and paste. That's what lawyers do, just another dirty little secret. But there was no such lawsuit. And a lawsuit like that had never been filed before, even though we have this power under federal law. That's we're flexing it.
Well, I know you have the appreciation of people all over the country who are expecting some action on making sure we have free and fair elections. I want to shift attention to the city of Minneapolis, where the Civil Rights Division, under your direction, is suing the local school system there for discrimination. What is going on with the public schools in Minneapolis, which, by the way, is a city and a state that seems to be overrun with problems right now?
Oh, yeah. We have multiple investigations regarding Minnesota and Hennepin County. Maybe I'll give you an example. So Hennepin County, where Minneapolis is, has race-based plea agreements. So you're going to give you a better plea agreement if you're African-American versus other races. This is blatantly illegal, and this is something that we've been investigating. But their school system similarly provides benefits like loan, special loan terms, loan forgiveness, and things like that to teachers on the basis of race. This is illegal, and they recruit more heavily for minorities, and just that's their focus. And so many Americans who want to teach in the schools there, they don't have equal opportunity. And so, there's virtue signaling, so that's one level. But imagine the situation for the students. Instead of getting the best possible teachers and those teachers having equal terms of employment, there's blatant discrimination to serve some adult fantasy of equality that is actually illegal under the law today. We've learned from Students for Fair Admissions and Ames versus Ohio and other cases that you can't sort of treat people differently on the basis of their race when it comes to admissions and when it comes to hiring, including hiring in institutions of lower and higher education. And so this is happening all over the country. And so my job is really kind of a game of whack-a-mole. I'm constantly having issues pop up, and then I run around and squash that. I hope it has a deterrent effect in other jurisdictions. But this DEI stuff is a religion of the left, Scott.
Yes.
And, it is hard to dissuade people from their religion and deprogram them. I think it's going to take a long time, but it's never going to happen if we don't get started. So this DOJ is extremely determined.
I want to play a clip for you, Harmeet, from a state representative in my home state of Kentucky. Her name is Sarah Stalker. She said this in a committee hearing this week. Let's take a listen.
When kids have a moment to reflect about how the color of their skin does and does not allow them to move through the world, running to them and trying to stifle that and trying to say you shouldn't feel bad, so we don't want to ever expose you to something that is going to make you have to pause and have maybe some internal feelings. It's a missed opportunity for some really good dialogue.
This is a state representative in Kentucky. There's a longer clip of her, and you can find it on the internet. The DEI cult is a religion, and we're seeing it in red states and blue states. In your opinion, has the Trump administration been able to go far enough yet in rooting this out? I think the president's executive order was key, but it sounds like you just have so much here to deal with when it comes to finding these things all over the country.
I don't even understand what that lady just said, to be honest with you. It was like complete word salad to me. So that's part of the diabolical scheme, is speak in, pig Latin or double speak or something, so we don't even understand what's going on, and only the initiated few know what's being said. But no, I mean, it's a huge, it is in every American corporation, just about, in every school system. One of the things we've been dealing with these college settlements, which I'm leading the negotiations for the day,
yes,
is that like the administrators will reach an agreement with us, and then it turns out that whatever was going on is still happening. Now they quickly, under threat of DOJ action, they fix it. But I really rely on whistleblowers to tell me what. To be fair, some of the top university administrators don't know what's going on, and it's just like a self-perpetuating machine.
Let me pause you right there. We need to take a break. I want to dig into your settlements with the universities. You've had a number of successes on this front. That is Harmeet Dhillon you're hearing. She is the Assistant Attorney General over the Civil Rights Division at Trump's DOJ. More with Harmeet when we come back. It's Scott Jennings. Common Sense here on the Salem Radio Network. Scott Jennings here on Salem. Harmeet Dhillon, Assistant Attorney General for the Department of Justice, is our guest. Harmeet, in late November, the DOJ, along with other agencies, entered into an agreement with Northwestern University over discrimination on campus. That was a big settlement. You had another settlement with Cornell earlier in November. You are leading the administration's push against universities where discrimination and anti-Semitism has run rampant. What is the update on this? And on behalf of everyone who has been screaming about this, thank you for your efforts.
Well, absolutely. It's a real honor. The president has asked me to kind of lead this effort, and the attorney general. I briefed the president multiple times in the Oval Office about this, and I actually saw him at the White House just yesterday, and we discussed one of the pending settlements. He's very keenly interested in these because he feels very strongly that this tremendous discrimination that has occurred for decades in America's institutions of higher learning needs to stop. And as part of the engine of driving America's future and youth forward is giving them that equal opportunity. So far to date, Scott, we've reached almost $500 million in settlements with these just handful of universities. Many others have come to the table and reached deals with us where they agree voluntarily to cease and desist their behavior and report to us regularly under penalty of perjury that they're continuing to honor their agreements with us. And some of them are coming to us proactively before we even open investigations, opening up their books and hiring lawyers to help them do top-to-bottom reviews of their practices to ensure that they're in compliance with students or fair admissions and other federal laws. And so this is really having a wave effect throughout the country, and it's going to give so much more equal opportunity to all Americans. And that's really the theme, if I were to give one theme of our Civil Rights Division, is we change the focus from a chosen few having their ox gored to protecting all Americans from all walks of life. And that's what this president has promised as well. So, we have Harvard in the works and a number of others in the chute as well. And so it is a deep commitment and a very successful first-year project of this administration.
We have about a minute left, Harmeet. I was scrolling through the Civil Rights Division press releases. I see a number of news items dealing with anti-Semitism and hate crimes. Are you seeing a huge increase in anti-Semitic violence and discrimination across the country?
Well, we're seeing an uptick in violence against houses of worship and people of faith generally because the Jewish community is small. The fact that there's so many instances that against them is definitely standing out. And the answer is yes. After October 7th, 2023, we've seen an uptick in this violence. I personally have visited a synagogue in the Upper East Side just on Saturday this week, addressed the congregation there, and they were the subject of an attack. Wilshire Synagogue in Los Angeles area, Beverly Hills area, was also the subject of an attack and blockages. And we're using a novel approach of the FACE Act, which typically was used by leftist DOJs to punish people of faith praying outside abortion clinics. We're using it for the first time to punish people blocking access to an American house of worship. And so we have several investigations pending, and we intend to put a stop to this type of violence.
That voice you're hearing today, Harmeet Dhillon, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the U.S. Department of Justice. Harmeet, you're a great American. Keep fighting. Thank you for the update and the breaking news today on your efforts to have free and fair and secure elections in the United States. That is all the time we have. Live from Kalamazoo, Michigan today, it's Scott Jennings. I thank you for listening. Tomorrow, a special edition of the show. I bring to you a debate between myself and Noah Rothman of National Review. We debated recently at Yale University. I think you'll enjoy it. It's Scott Jennings, Common Sense for the American People, here on the Salem Radio Network.